This is an analysis of the poem Daffodils by Emily Clifton
and Juhi Lalwani.
The poem Daffodils was written by William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth was born in Cockermouth, Cumberland, England, on April 7, 1770. 1770 was the beginning of the Romantic movement. The poem sheds light on the speaker's discovery of a field of daffodils that comforts him in times of loneliness, restlessness, or reflection. The time period of the poem was the Romantic period, and the style of the poem is romantic. I wandered, lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils.
The simile in the first line utilizes the words wandered and cloud to represent a lonely and isolated feeling. The word floats in the next line also portrays the speaker's loneliness and aloofness. Wordsworth uses vales and hills to represent the nature. In the last two lines, the speaker uses words like lake, trees, and breeze to display the concept of nature. But right after the second line, a shift occurs. The lonely and gloomy mood changes into a more joyful and uplifting spirit. The word crowd in the next line contradicts the words lonely, cloud, and wandered in the first line. The word crowd is also a metaphor, since the daffodils are being compared to a crowd. As a result, the plentiful daffodils serve as a place of happiness, since it contrasts to the lonely attitude that appears before the shift. The metaphor in the fourth line also emphasizes the quantity of daffodils, but it also represents the beauty of the daffodils. The word goldens shows this. By personifying daffodils in the last line, the speaker depicts the joy that daffodils, or nature, brings to him. The speaker puts a simile in the beginning of the next stanza. By comparing the daffodils to stars, Wordsworth links nature to the universe. The words twinkle and Milky Way help to explain how daffodils brighten up the world and brighten up the speaker's perspective. The words continuous, never-ending, and 10,000 all serve to display the abundance of daffodils, which reveals that daffodils convey a feeling of happiness and fullness, rather than sadness and loneliness. The last sentence of the stanza connotes the joy the speaker feels as he watches the daffodils dance and toss their heads. The personification here emphasizes the joy he feels that is brought by nature. In the next stanza, the speaker uses words like glee and gay to portray his positivity and cheerful attitude he feels when watching nature. The words outdid and sparkling help to depict the beauty of nature and its attracting qualities. The last two lines of the stanza, the couplet, portrays how the speaker watches nature, but it initially fails to reflect and appreciate nature's wonders. The repetition of the word dance throughout the poem displays the speaker's joy and his admiration for nature. Right after the third stanza, there is a shift that occurs. The poem shifts from the speaker's memory and imagination back to reality and on his couch. The next stanza utilizes the words vacant, pensive, and solitude to display his initial feelings. However, the words inward eye or imagination portrays how he feels bliss and pleasure when he thinks about nature. Therefore, this stanza displays that imagining nature's beauty can uplift his soul and spirit. Overall, the poem portrays the speaker's joyous and romantic tone.
The theme of the poem is nature's beauty in existence or imagination uplifts the human soul and spirit.
To answer the AP question, how does the author reinforce meaning through his use of figurative language, tone, structure, and other literary features? We would organize our essay by the structure of the poem. Our first body paragraph would be about lines 1 and 2 of the poem, which is everything before the first shift. This body paragraph would be about the speaker's gloomy and isolated perspective. The next body paragraph would be over lines 3 to 18, which is after the first shift, but before the second shift. And this body paragraph would be about the speaker's joy and his admiration for nature and its beauty. The third and final body paragraph would be from lines 9 through 24 of the poem, which is after the second shift. The body paragraph would be about the speaker coming back to reality and imagining how nature changed his attitude and how his attitude changed from pensive to blissful. William Wordsworth's poem Daffodils has 4 sestets, has the rhyme scheme AB, AB, CC, is an iambic tetrameter, and has 4 couplets. There is 1 couplet at the end of each stanza. The overall attitude of the poem is joyous and imaginative. Our thesis in response to the AP prompt is Wordsworth's stylistic elements reinforced nature's uplifting abilities in order to portray the speaker's admiration for nature. First topic sentence. Before the first shift, the speaker utilizes powerful language in order to emphasize his isolation and aloof state. Second topic sentence. Following the first shift, the visionary poet depicts the daffodil's beauty in order to emphasize its powerful effects on human outlook. Third topic sentence. Following the second shift, the speaker's memory of the harmonious nature uplifts his spirit and diminishes his gloomy attitude. This is our works cited page.
I hope you enjoyed our analysis of the poem Daffodils. Shout out to Miss Dowling for always keeping it cool in school.